October 28th. And this month and this year are really passing by. But like many folks, I guess 2020 can't get out of here fast enough, especially if we're going to have a better 2021. This is Bob Dickerson, Facebook Live, also on YouTube. So I want you to be sure to follow me, be my friend on Facebook, or be a fan on Facebook. I'm still trying to figure out how all that works. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're coming on every week. I've been mentioning for the past month or so that we're anticipating or considering changing the time because 7 a.m. is getting earlier and earlier for most of you. And, you know, it's not that early for me because I'm an early riser. I'm typically awake no later than 5, up most days before 6. And so 7 isn't that early, but it is early. And I'm just happy to see that those of you who don't join the broadcast live are looking at it and sharing it. Thank you. Thank you so much for following me and for participating and for your comments and for the love. I really feel it. And I really appreciate it. I just want to make sure that you guys hear that. Hey, rainy day, no golf. And I got a real busy day anyway. Normally, you know, I'm up with my workout clothes, and trust me, I've already had my workout this morning. I think I started probably right at 5. I think I actually was on a treadmill. Maybe a bit, may have been a little bit after 5, but I got the workout in. Now I got my dress shirt on, got an actual jacket behind me. I got that kind of day. And so what I'd love to see you do is to join me. What's up, Sean Thurman? How you doing? Gene Ishman, good morning. How you doing? I'd love for you to join me. We got a couple of things, and you can get these on my website, on the Birmingham Business Resource Center's website. That is myBBRC.biz, myBBRC.biz. Ignite Alabama is having a big event all day today. Now, for those of you who know Birmingham and who know Alabama, you know that this traditionally is the Magic City Classic week and weekend. And the Magic City Classic, hey Sharon, is one of the big events that we have, probably the biggest event that Birmingham has. I mean, biggest bar none. And so because of COVID-19, obviously there is no Magic City Classic going on, but there are some of the same kinds of events, not as many, because we don't have Alabama State and Alabama A&M universities coming into town to play a big football game. I think this would be the 77th, 76th, 77th. It's a traditional rivalry that's happened in Birmingham for a long time, but it's not happening here. But this organization, Ignite Alabama, touring Brazil, is doing an excellent job. Priscilla, good morning. She's doing an excellent job with it. Well, they are having a day, or actually a couple of days, of workshops and seminars, town hall meetings, and providing some information that I think is going to be useful to all citizens. Small businesses, community leaders, nonprofit leaders. As I looked at the agenda, there is something for everyone. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be on this morning at 8 and again at 9. And so, and we also have another event that we're doing from the BBRC that also happens at 9. So I got to figure out how I'm going to juggle being 2 places at one time. I'll figure that out. But you can go on the Birmingham Business Resource Center's website, myBBRC.biz, myBBRC.biz, to get information. And I think you can still register for either the BBRC event, which is protecting your business from fraud. You know, a lot of that is going on. So we have a very good presentation with our partner, Regions Bank. Hey, Judy, good morning. Our partner, Regions Bank. A good presentation, some good information to make sure that you protect your business from fraud. There are a lot of people out there who want to steal your identity, masquerade as you or your business. And ultimately, well, if you have fraudulent activity that you didn't have any control over, and let's say you get some money taken from your bank account, you get that back, but the aggravation and the time that it takes for you to discover the fraud and then to be able to go through the process. Hey, Brunetta, good morning. To go through that process of getting it back, it's it's aggravating and it could be costly. So we want to share that. And again, the session this morning will feature State Representative Laura Hall, Dr. Teresa O'Rourke, who is one of the professors and leaders at Alabama A&M University, and several other folks who have a lot to share. And so myBBRC.biz, you can get that information from there. You can hit the link and register. We are all about assisting small businesses get access to capital, receive technical assistance and training, and receive opportunities to grow and sustain their businesses. This has been a tumultuous year, a devastating year for many small businesses. And so we are committed, even more committed, to our advocacy and to really make sure that we double down as small business advocates and as an organization that helps people start, grow, and develop businesses. There are a lot of folks who are going to, or who have already been hurt because of the shutdown created by the coronavirus. And that shutdown was necessary. But now, hopefully that virus is going to move. Good morning, Allison. Hopefully the virus moves away. And if we can do some things next Tuesday to help make it move away, I certainly think that it will. That if we have policies and action that take the virus seriously, we can move it. We can do better than we're doing now. We can't continue to deny that it's crippling not only our businesses, but crippling our people. As we come back, though, those businesses need more. They're going to need more help. They're going to need more money, and they're going to need more opportunity. I think that the folks who are doing okay in business, we've got to make sure that we can wrap our arms around them, that we can put our hands on them, that we can provide the resources and the assistance that they need to be able to survive. We've just got to be able to do that. Those folks who have run successful businesses for years and years don't deserve to, because of this pandemic, be locked out of the opportunity to restart. And so that's going to take advocacy. We've got to change what credit worthiness looks like coming out of the pandemic. We can't hold folks to the same standards that we held them to in the past. And that goes across the board. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're Black, if you're white, if you're a micro business, or if you're a moderate size or mid-sized businesses. Those same principles, I think, have to apply. We have to reassess what it means to help a business. Organizations like the Birmingham Business Resource Center, are ready, willing, and able to take the lead in doing that. Excuse me. But we also need our financial community to do that as well. So I'm calling on banks and other lenders to rethink and start thinking now, but to rethink what credit worthiness looks like post COVID-19, and to make sure that we do everything that we can to help businesses restart, jumpstart, and get more people in the game. As far as it relates to Black people and Black businesses, one of the ways that one of the vehicles we need to really focus on in order to close the racial wealth gap is to start more successful Black companies. Now, I didn't just say start more companies. That is important. but we also have to start more successful Black companies. One of the ways to make sure that these companies succeed is to make sure that they sell a product or service. Part of the responsibility to make sure that Black companies sell is on us as Black people. And then we have to push others, the major corporations, major procurers, to do business with our folks. We have taken that on at the Birmingham Business Resource Center. We have actually launched our own supplier diversity initiatives, working with a couple of agencies right now, working with the World Games, working with the Birmingham Waterworks Board, working to make sure that we help to provide our services to help small businesses do better, sell more, and succeed. It's not just starting businesses, that's important, but we also have to make them succeed. So, I'm going to be on a Zoom call for all morning. Hey, check it out. You can get the link at myBBRC.biz, the Protecting Your Business Against Fraud, which is done as part of the Ignite program, as well as the Ignite Alabama, Innovative Ways to Thrive amidst disruptions. And that's what we're doing now. We're trying to figure out ways, and we have to be creative and innovative. If we're going to thrive and survive and come out of this pandemic alive as business owners, then we've got to be innovative. We've got to be creative. We've got to be resourceful. And so I just want to lay that out there for you this morning. Hey, can't get off here without talking about what's happening in the news. We are being, if you're listening to Fox, I rarely listen to Fox anymore. I get over there every now and then just to see the nonsense. It's amazing that Fox has become quote unquote state TV. And that's the kind of stuff that, that used to happen in Russia. I guess it still does happen in Russia, where the news that the people get is controlled by the government, or it is so pro-government that there is no truth telling. And so every now and then, you got to look over there and figure out what's being said. But what's being said is that, the biggest lie is that this virus is under control, that we've turned a corner. And that, the other part of that lie, and the more dangerous part of that lie, if you could be more dangerous than that, is when someone mocks a deadly disease. And when someone suggests that the news coverage that the disease is getting is politically motivated by the other stations, and juxtapose that against the fact that we are having the most diagnosed cases of COVID-19 within the past 8-10 months since there's been a COVID-19. You can't really figure that out as to how that could be true or even reasonable. However, there are a number of people in this country, it looks to be 30 to 40%, amazingly, that are buying that argument. And even if they're not buying the argument, they're buying the arguer, the person who's making the argument. How is it that the Vice President of the United States staff can catch COVID, 6, 7, 8 of them catch COVID, and he doesn't even stop his campaigning? I mean, he never comes off the road. He heads up the coronavirus task force that has made a recommendation that when you've been exposed, that means you've been close to someone who has it, then you actually are a person that that quarantines. You quarantine. I don't know what this is on my website. It looks almost like Greek. anyway, it's some, and I got the phone sideways, and it looks really Greek to me. I can't really figure out what it is. Could be the Russians, It could be the Russians. Hey, check that out. Let me know what you think that is. Kind of interesting. But so we're being lied to, and the lies being supported by state TV, which is Fox. So just keep that in mind. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind, and this is what I really want to talk about before I get out of here and get ready to get on this other call, is everything to suppress your vote and to make sure that this election can be protested, contested, and not go the way that I firmly believe that it will go. I think that America is a little bit fed up with Donald Trump and his administration, and I think we should be. I think enough of us are fed up with him that the tide will be turned. Now, I'm not one that, relaxes on that. I encourage all of us to go and vote if you haven't already. But the fact that so many people have voted already, usually when you see that kind of turnout, it's turnout because of dissatisfaction. Now, that's bad to think that. But usually when folks get involved in a political process, it's because they don't like what's going on. Now, I'm gonna lean on that, and I'm gonna trust that that's happening, which is why we have long lines now, as people are tired of what's going on for the last 4 years. But let's not let that make us complacent, and let's not let that make us stay at home. It is very important that you as an individual cast your vote, regardless of the fact that there's an electoral college and Donald Trump is likely to carry the state of Alabama. That is a shame in and of itself. But that doesn't matter. You go and make sure your voice is heard. You go and make sure that your voice is heard. Tomorrow, Judy just reminded us that tomorrow is the last day to vote absentee in person. So keep that in mind. The lines were long. I know they were long Saturday because my daughter, who was on this call, was in it. She and her husband were in the line. But we are braving long lines. I'm encouraged when I see the television and I see people in those long lines because we want to vote. And I want to say this, that let's let this voting enthusiasm carry over to other elections as well. We should vote every time we have the opportunity. We should vote every time we have the opportunity. And we've got to put people in office that won't continue to try to suppress our votes. Now, voter suppression is real. Voter suppression is real, and it just didn't start with the election of Donald Trump. It's been going on for years. Actually, it has a history that goes back to probably the latter part of the 19th century, 1890 or so. When slavery was ended, the U.S. Congress made the South, Lucy, good morning. The U.S. Congress, hey, good morning, Tamika. U.S. Congress made the South grant the vote to black men. Now, women weren't voting at all, white or black, but they granted the vote to black men, and black men served on state legislatures because we had a lot of numbers. And it wasn't until, as the Southern whites gained some of their political power back, that the Jim Crow laws came in and started to suppress the black vote. So black voter suppression, is not anything new. It's rooted in American history. You can go back and if you Google it, you can find speech that I can't remember this general's name, before a group of Tennessee legislators, and he clearly said that blacks shouldn't be able to vote, because if blacks vote, it allows these people who are not as good as we are to have the same power that we do. So then you see things like poll taxes and intimidation and literacy tests and all of those things that went on for years and years and years. As a matter of fact, as a child myself, I remember the struggle for voting rights. It's a struggle that my parents were involved in. Now they voted, but I can remember going to Civic League meetings and hearing the conversations about voting. So I remember when, in certain parts of the South, especially, that there was this intimidation. If you try to vote, you lose your job. If you try to vote, you may even lose your life. Medgar Evers came back from World War II after serving the country, and he goes back to Mississippi, and he wonders why, as a Black man, as a veteran, he's still being denied the right to vote. And he died trying to make sure that Black folks got the right to vote. John Lewis was beat in that Bloody Sunday, Selma to Montgomery March, trying to get folks the right to vote. And that was in 1960 something. That wasn't really that long ago, trust me. And so voter suppression is real. It's been around for over a century. And it's not going to go anywhere until we get the right people in office. Voter suppression, it is, and I think the intent is to make sure that even as the demographics change in this country, as the country becomes more brown, that the people who aren't brown still have control of the resources and all the power. Well, they got that now. But in order to make sure that they solidify that control, one of the methods to make sure that that control is solid is to diminish the power of the vote among Black and brown people. And so decisions are being made in state legislatures, decisions are being made in state Supreme Courts, decisions are potentially being made in the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Lucy, good morning. Lisa, good morning. That will suppress your vote, my vote, brown people's votes, poor people's votes. One of the ways that we fight against that is to make sure that we vote, and we vote the people in that support our right to vote. We don't need to turn the clock back to 1920 when you could be threatened for wanting to become a voter. We don't need to continue some of the things that are happening now when people are having to stand in line hours in order to vote. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I think voter suppression is when you make voting a 12-hour window to vote on a Tuesday. That in a way is voter suppression. And then when you say from the highest office in this country not to trust mail-in voting, basically not to trust anything other than the in-person voting at the poll, to say that a vote doesn't count if it doesn't come in, if it's not postmarked, which is the rule, prior to the close of the polls or prior to election day, that it can't count. When you basically say that if I don't win, it was rigged. Well, in China, they don't really have elections. It's a communist country. It has a dictator. He's president for life or however long he wants to be. That's what they have there. In Russia, they don't really have an election. They have a farcical election. But Putin has his thumb on the scale. And so he dictates the outcome for he and his other kleptocrats. Belarus, the president, just declares himself the winner. There's no real accountability. There's no real accounting. Is that what we're doing here? Is that where we're headed? Well, it could be. So listen, I just want to say this, and I'm going to go. Please, please, please go vote. Make sure that everyone else that you know who is qualified to vote, go vote. Stand in line if you have to. Let's send a message. Let's make some changes in our federal government. We need changes in the executive. branch, of course. We need changes in the Senate. We need to make sure that we hold the House of Representatives. And then we need changes in our states. You know, we need to send a message that we're not going to be suppressed. We're not going to have our vote suppressed, that we are not going back to the Jim Crow era. We're going forward to an era where we're going to live up to the creed that this country said, that we are all created equal, that we have rights, and that this is a land of opportunity. Hey, this is Bob Dickerson with NTHBLK. See you again next week. Thanks.